This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, Hurricane Florence has gained strength as it heads straight for the central part of the East Coast. We're going to talk to meteorologist Joe Bastardi about what to expect as millions of Americans prepare to evacuate. And today marks the 17th anniversary of the deadliest attack in American history, September 11, 2001. We're going to look at the ongoing threat from radical Islam. Up first today, there really aren't any good scenarios on the table right now when it comes to the massive hurricane approaching the East Coast. Forecasters are clear. Hurricane Florence is rapidly getting stronger. It will likely hit the East Coast as a Category 3 or 4 and possibly a 5. It will come ashore in Virginia, North Carolina, or South Carolina, and its impact is expected to be life-threatening.
We do know that we're in the bullseye. North Carolina is taking Hurricane Florence seriously, and you should too. Get ready now.
Governors in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia have already issued evacuation orders for those closest to the coast. The most sweeping orders come from South Carolina, where the entire coastline was given until noon Tuesday to leave, meaning more than 1 million people are right now on the move. Joining us right now by Skype is Joe Bastardi. He is the chief forecaster for Weather Bell Analytics. So, Joe, Florence is heading for North Carolina. What would be if it hit as a Category 4, possibly a 5?
Well, this is their Katrina and Harvey. Let's not pull any punches here. And, hoping, been tweeting out the president and the administration should understand that they should be on war footing as far as the response to this goes. This is a $50 to $100 billion storm. And I believe that this is going to, we believe since last Wednesday, because of the pattern that we're in, that this is aimed at the North Carolina, South Carolina border. We still believe it's going in at Cape Fear or around Cape Fear, plus or minus 50 miles. And where this goes inland, this will be the most powerful hurricane, I believe. It'll probably beat Hazel, which was in 1954. And Charleston's benchmark storm, or the South Carolina benchmark storm, of course, is Hugo in '89. This will be as strong or stronger. But the most hideous aspect of this after landfall, I mean, the power of the storm at landfall in this area is as great as you can get it. All right. But this is going to crawl west-northwestward. It will hit very late Thursday night, and Saturday night only be near Charlotte, and Sunday night and Monday night may only be near Asheville. And that means it's going to rain itself out. In every river, I think, from the Savannah River, which is on the South Carolina-Georgia border, all the way up to all the rivers in North Carolina, could break record flood stages when this is all said and done from the amount of rain that is going to occur with this. We certainly don't want to downplay the event in Virginia, but the current idea with this going in and crawling toward the southern Appalachians would mean that there is a chance that the river flooding in Virginia is not as bad as what it is in North Carolina and South Carolina. So, folks, remember with Harvey, well, once Harvey hit, the winds came down quite a bit. And where it hit was a place that gets hit quite a bit on the Texas coastline and relatively sparse. Corpus Christi did not get the worst of Harvey. The worst part of Harvey was the rain. That's what was the real problem. Katrina, the flooding, of course, was because of the levees breaking down. So flooding is the big aspect of this once the landfall is done. But those beaches from Myrtle Beach and especially Cape Fear northeast to Cape Lookout and perhaps to Hatteras are probably going to be rearranged in a way where they will not be the same after this storm goes by.
How far inland are we talking in terms of the storm's reach?
Well, all the way, as far as heavy rain, all the way into West Virginia, eastern Tennessee, Kentucky, northern Georgia. As far as wind, hurricane force winds may still exist with this 24 hours after landfall, which, if my track is correct, would mean that there could be hurricane force gusts all the way to Charlotte the hurricane winds, the frictional effects, cause it to die down quite rapidly. In fact, 50 miles inland, the sustained winds would probably be 50% of what they will be on the coast. But that's still enough with all that heavy rain to bring down trees and power lines. Folks, I cannot overemphasize this. Look, I'm not trying to, again, be pompous, but we've, for our clientele at Weather Bell, we're a private forecast organization. We've been saying since September 2nd this was coming back, and it's because of the pattern. But the modern day meteorologists are focused on the model. The model's here, the model's there, the model's everywhere, right? The models will eventually respond, all of them, to what the pattern dictates. And the cork in the stream idea that the old timers use, the foundational forecasting techniques, you have that big ridge, and they used to call it the Newfoundland wheel. My dad's 89 years old. He's a meteorologist, and he always talked about when you get the big high in the Northwest Atlantic, they steer these storms in. The most hideous aspect of this may be the track is hitting perpendicular. This is not an arcing storm that comes into the Bahamas and then turns north. This is coming right in at 90 degrees, and those are the worst storms as far as keeping their intensity, because they don't monkey around with the land mass. And you got to understand, when it's parallel on the coast, it's drawing in drier air. Here, it's just coming right in from the southeast.
All right, Joe Bastardi with Weather Bell, thank you so much for your insight. We'll look forward to seeing you in the days ahead.
All right. Well, I wish it was under better circumstances.
Same here, indeed.
Happy on when the weather's nice sometime, will you? So
yes, we will try that. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
With Hurricane Florence gaining strength as she moves across the Atlantic, people along the southeastern coast, specifically the Carolinas and Southern Virginia, are preparing for the biggest potential impact. As CBN's national security correspondent Eric Rosales explains, major military installations are also making moves.
Now's the time. That's the message from emergency management officials. Hurricane Florence can bring big impacts to our area, from strong storm surges along the eastern coastline to major flooding inland. Over at the Pentagon, top military brass are already mobilizing our troops to be ahead of the storm.
Northern Command is sending an advance team to the Emergency Operations Center in Raleigh, North Carolina today to conduct an assessment and coordinate with federal and state partners.
Pentagon leaders say hundreds of troops are ready to be deployed at a moment's notice, while FEMA is setting up operations at Fort A.P. Hill, Virginia. Joe Bastardi, chief forecaster for Weather Bell Analytics, tells CBN News the worst could come days after the storm hits.
What this is, it's not going to move fast. It's going to go inland, sit over the southern Appalachians, and lead to 3 to 4 feet of rain in parts of South Carolina, North Carolina, perhaps even into Southwest Virginia. So when this is all said and done, this is probably going to be the costliest storm in the history of the Carolinas, because not only are you dealing with a major hurricane hit, but you're dealing with flooding of biblical proportions.
Along the Carolina coast, marine workers are moving boats to higher ground and are focused on protecting buildings.
The building, we're going to bore some windows up. We're going to put everything else away, and then we're going to put some concrete blocks in front of the doors just so rushing water and wind can't blow the doors back in.
In Charleston, South Carolina, people filled sandbags and stocked up on food.
Did you need help with anything?
Oh, I got it.
Okay,
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
While in Myrtle Beach, many are getting ready for life off the grid, buying up generators, flashlights, water, and lots of plywood to cover up windows.
All I need to run is a refrigerator. I can run my grill and everything on the propane, so I don't have to worry about that.
North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper declared a state of emergency, as well as mandatory evacuation orders along the eastern coastline. The governor warned residents that Florence was gaining strength and that the winds would likely be higher than other recent hurricanes.
North Carolina is taking Hurricane Florence seriously, and you should too.
Hurricane Florence has now intensified to a Category 4 hurricane with 130-mile-per-hour winds. Scientists over at the National Hurricane Center predict that it could reach 150-mile-per-hour winds before it makes landfall Thursday night. Eric Rosales, CBN News, Washington.
In other news, North Korean dictator Kim Jong-Un is requesting another meeting with President Donald Trump. Kim made the request in a letter the president describes as very warm and pleasant. Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders says the White House is already making plans to coordinate that meeting. A North Korean military parade Sunday downplayed the rogue nation's nuclear missiles, a move that prompted praise from Washington. Kim and Trump met first in June during an historic summit in Singapore. House Republicans have introduced a bill to make their new tax cuts permanent. The current tax cuts are set to expire at the end of 2025. The law was written that way due to budget rules, so it could pass with just a simple majority, since no Democrats supported it. House Republicans could start work on the measure this week, and it could get a vote on the House floor by the end of the month. But the measure has very little chance of passing the Senate before the midterm elections. Now it's time to take a quick check of the other major headlines we're following for you today inside the CBN newsroom. National Security Advisor John Bolton took aim at the International Criminal Court in his latest speech. Bolton threatened the ICC and its staff with sanctions if it proceeds with investigations into alleged war crimes by American troops in Afghanistan. He labeled the court as illegitimate and said the ICC is dead to the U.S. This comes after a review of the Palestinian Liberation Organization office found that, quote, no direct and meaningful negotiations with Israel are underway, despite previous warnings. Iran warned on Monday they are plotting strikes against its enemies. The Washington Free Beacon reports that a top Iranian military leader said, quote, if enemies of the Islamic Revolution make an aggression against the Islamic Iran, we will chase and punish them not only outside the borders, but also beyond the seas. The comments come just days after Iran's military launched a missile strike in Iraq. U.S. officials have warned if Iran's spy operations expand far beyond its borders, and they have the capability of launching terror strikes across the globe. The largest Islamic organization in Britain is urging the government to ban evangelist Franklin Graham ahead of his visit to the country later this month. Newsweek reports the Muslim Council of Britain wants Parliament to deny Graham a visa for spreading what the organization calls hate speech. They say Graham's preaching against Islam as evil and a religion of war. For more on these stories and others throughout the day, you can always visit cbnnews.com. Coming up, 17 years ago today, America suffered its most devastating attack ever. But despite the long years of war on terror, the threats from radical Islam is still far from over. We've got the story coming up next, right here on CBN NewsWatch. 17 years ago today, the U.S. suffered the greatest loss of life from a foreign terrorist attack. But even all these years later, experts say the global threat posed by radical Islam is greater than ever. Our George Thomas brings us this story.
Since that fateful September morning in 2001, Islamic jihadists have launched more than 33,000 deadly terror attacks.
The movements and ideologies that drove and justified that attack and the thousands of other attacks you name, that still remains very dynamic, very vibrant.
And these terror groups have hit targets nearly everywhere around the world since 9/11, from Iraq and Afghanistan to Finland and California. Experts say Islamic fighters have shown that they are far from exhausted, discouraged, or underfunded.
They still seem very prepared to fight, not ready for a diplomatic process.
ISIS, an offshoot of Al-Qaeda born in the desert sands of Iraq and Syria, is much weaker, but by no means out of the fight. The group has carried out more than 150 attacks in 29 countries, killing thousands. Its affiliates or supporters are now spread around the world, including here in the homeland, where the FBI's director told congressional officials this summer that his bureau was tracking an alarming number of cases.
We have about 1,000 investigations into exactly the kind of people you're describing, covering all 50 states.
Despite the death of its leader, Osama bin Laden, in May 2011, Al-Qaeda, which just had a few hundred fighters on 9/11, now has between 10,000 and 20,000 battle-hardened fighters in Syria. 4,000 are operating in Libya, and another 9,000 are in Somalia. Hundreds more are scattered across North Africa and Southeast Asia. And according to Western intelligence, there are about 50,000 jihadists living in Europe, including recent combatants who have returned home after fighting alongside ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and other terror groups in Syria and Iraq.
They are faith-driven. They have an ideology that is derived from a theology.
17 years on, despite trillions of dollars spent and countless American lives lost, the threat from radical Islam is more widespread than ever before. May says the world should prepare for a long war against an enemy that isn't backing down and believes time is on its side.
We don't know how long this war is going to last. Our enemies don't care how long it's going to last. If we are not prepared for such a war, then we will for sure lose such a war.
George Thomas, CBN News.
Coming up, a man who found strength joining a Nazi group, but it wasn't enough because he still carried a terrible secret. We're going to find out what it was when we come back. He suffered years of abuse, and that led to a Brooklyn man's search for strength he found in the National Socialist Movement, a Nazi group right here in the United States. He quickly became the #2 man, but as Caitlin Burke reports, he harbored a secret, and her name was Catherine Boone.
Duke Schneider learned early that weakness wasn't an option if he hoped to survive.
My father left when I was very young. He could no longer endure living with my mother, who was psychotic and total and complete neurotic.
After years of abuse, Duke had one focus: becoming strong enough that no one could hurt him. That led to two things: a wrestling career combined with a Nazi fascination. Duke saw Nazis as Aryan supermen, projecting strength and invincibility. And on the James Madison High School wrestling team, Duke developed his own strength, beating opponent after opponent.
I had achieved something that I had always wanted as a child, to be so physically tough that I could not only endure the beatings I was getting, but that I could make a very devastating comeback as well.
Duke eventually left the ring and went into the personal security business. That's when he met Catherine Boone.
What stood out most about Catherine's case was the simple fact that she was a woman who was living in mortal fear. And I identified with that fear. You know, I knew what it was like to be afraid and have nobody to protect me whatsoever.
Catherine wanted a bodyguard because her ex-husband was fresh out of prison and reportedly looking for her. Duke took the job, waived his usual fee, and suggested Catherine move into his spare bedroom.
I had no idea who might have gotten a beat on where she was living. Now, I could look after her during the day, but I was working at night. Most crimes are committed at night. So if anybody was looking for her, I was quite sure they would come looking for her at night.
Well, I felt safe. That nobody's gonna come here and bother me or hurt me.
Then, one day on a public bus, a group of white supremacists came at her.
They was in the back talking about me. Cause they were looking at me and they were confronting me. So you're in the wrong neighborhood.
Duke was furious and came up with a plan to find them. He figured if he could infiltrate a neo-Nazi organization, he could eventually shut them down.
And I joined the National Socialist Movement that very week.
Things quickly went downhill.
What happened was I got involved with the intentions that I had, predominantly as an infiltrator, but then the intoxication of them moving me up the ladder on a perpetual basis. That was almost like a childhood dream.
For 7 years, Schneider climbed the movement's ranks while playing a double life. A Nazi by day who came home to an African-American roommate each night.
As long as we kept things on a professional level, I didn't see any kind of a conflict.
Concerned and frightened, Catherine took her fears to God.
I just prayed for him that he get out of there safe, that nothing happens to him, and he make it home.
Catherine said God answered in an unexpected way.
He gave him something to think about.
Doctors diagnosed Duke with thyroid cancer.
It was the worst fear of my entire life. I feared death. I figured, cancer is definitely a death sentence.
Seeing Duke's distress, a family member introduced him to Pastor Michael Beck.
He was most concerned about what he was facing, wasn't ready to die, didn't want to die, and was open and ready for God's assistance.
Before praying with him, Pastor Beck asked Duke to take a week to really examine his life and confess his sins to God. Duke not only took that advice, he went further, confessing to Pastor Beck and the entire church.
I said, I'm confessing this to you now because God is already aware of it, and I've already prayed for his forgiveness, and now I'm asking you all for your forgiveness.
Surgery to remove the cancer came next, and before doctors rolled him away, Catherine told Duke God made it clear he would survive. She also confessed that she'd loved Duke since day one.
I was very happy. I was smiling from ear to ear.
Doctors removed an 8-inch tumor from Duke's throat and reported that miraculously, no trace of cancer remained. After receiving a clean bill of health, complete with no chemo or any other treatment, Duke asked Catherine to marry him. He then made a few phone calls.
And I called Commander Jeff Scoop, and he was the only one above me in this organization, and I had to talk with him on the phone, and I told him, I said, listen, Commander, I'm resigning my commission at this time, effective immediately.
Duke told the commander of the National Socialist Movement that he'd been miraculously healed from cancer, was marrying a black woman, and had committed his life to Jesus. After breaking those racist Nazi ties and beginning a new life with Catherine, Duke proved just how much God has changed his outlook, working for a time as the security guard at a local synagogue. Caitlin Burke, CBN News, Brooklyn, New York.
Powerful story. Stay with us. There's much more CBN NewsWatch coming up after this. It is time now for your Tuesday Tweetable. It's a message I hope will encourage you and move you to post, tag, tweet, and share with others. Know this, God is good all the time, even when my circumstances are not good. God is good. Now that promise can be hard to hold on to when life is tough or stormy, but it is truth. With that word, I encourage you to make this a terrific Tuesday. God is indeed good all the time, no matter the circumstances, no matter the weather. That is a wrap for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember that you can always find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. And we would love to hear what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that by emailing newswatch@cbn.com. And of course, you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That concludes this portion of the newscast, but the newscast continues 24/7 at cbnnews.com. Make this a terrific Tuesday. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody, and God bless.